Hi, you guys. Sorry, take two. I had my mic muted. Way to go. Nothing like starting out the stream where no one can hear you. That's fabulous. I'm going to bring up LFT. And actually, I think she's on mute. She'll be up in a second. Hello, LFT, even though I know you can hear me. And
wait, I was going to, sorry, I got to run to the restroom. I'll be right back.
Oh, okay. Hi.
Sorry.
I'll say hi to everyone.
I put it in chat, but I might as well announce it to everyone.
Oh.
Sorry.
Hi, Kez. Oh, Punksy. You guys, I need you to go to Punksy's channel and check out some of the paranormal stuff she's got going on there that has to do with the case we're talking about tonight. It's really cool. Nadie, my lovest, cool gamer. Hi, thanks for popping in. That's so cool. Search and Rescue Canine. Think you're watching on TV. Oh, good gracious. Pointer Lover, Search and Rescue Canine. I'm hi, love. How are you? How's Capone doing? We send him our love. I have Allie backstage. I'm going to go ahead and bring her up. Alex Erickson. Hang on one second. There she is. When she's ready, she can unmute. Hi, Gregory. It's so nice to have you here. Hi, Allie.
Hello. Thank you guys for having me.
Are you kidding? Thank you for being here. I can't wait to hear you and Gypsy and LFT talk about your trip. This is going to be so amazing. I'm so grateful.
Oh, I'm so excited too. And I can't wait to hear from their experience and from your experience, being on, you were with us too. I mean, but I just can't wait to hear what you guys think about it all too.
We've done a lot. Oh, Capone's good. Oh, good. I'm so glad to hear that. I have a little tickle in my throat, so I apologize if I cough. I'm going to try not to do that on mic because that's rude. But if I do, please, Lord, forgive me. It is unintended. Crazy Mama. What's up, Mama?
Got unmuted too soon. Sorry.
Okay, you did not mute.
Sorry.
Still not muted. Still coughing. You're excited?
Well, that sounds about right.
I'm excited for you guys. Punksy's channel is amazing. Please go check her out.
But actually, hold on before you say Miss Talkie, Tia Talkerson, whatever your name is, Tia Dash. I was about to say, I agree with something that Alex said.
What's that?
I would love to hear her take, Allie, on watching us being there. What she witnessed and what she took away. Her own
what she got from it.
Yeah, and like, but watching us do it, because I'm sure there are things that she hasn't even told me yet.
I'm going to bring
Yeah.
the incognito gypsy up, our friend Jen.
Yay.
There she is.
Hi,
Hello and
guys.
welcome.
Thank you. Great to be here. Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming. And thank you guys. Like, I want to take a second and thank you guys for all going down there, making the trek individually together and keeping me in your pockets. It really did mean the world to me. We all know how I feel about this particular case, and I think we're all on the same page. I think the problem is that we all feel the same about this case. Devin Clark and Lyric Woods were brutally unalived, shot September 17th in Mebane, North Carolina. And both kids are beautiful kids and had amazing futures ahead of them. And these three lovely individuals, Alex Erickson, LFT, and Jen, the Incognito Gypsy, went to the site of where the bodies were discovered.
Right around.
And we're going to call it the crime scene for lack of a better word. But we all have different perspectives on how we look at cases. We do things more science. I guess we're like scientific and emotional. Allie, you're like spiritual, emotional, scientific. You're like
Factual.
the middleman for everything. Yeah. And then Jen comes from the spiritual side and intuitive. So LFT mute. So we're actually going to start with Jen, if that's okay with her. I want to hear her perspective. Oh, sure.
I'm sorry. I think we have a delay because you were on a little pause when I started. But I just wanted to say just one thing really quick, because I definitely want to hear from Jen first. That'll be so interesting. But Tia, your response to when we got there was like one of the most touching things of my day. Truly. I was just like, my God, like it just like touched my heart. It hit my gut, my heart. It made me feel all the feels, and just hearing like how much you care, how genuine that was, how it was a private moment. This was not for YouTube, I don't know. It was just like one of the most like touching parts of my trip for sure.
Thank you. It was a moment. I think Oprah calls it an ugly cry, but I'm okay with it. I'm solid with it. Like it was just, I've had this moment before. It was just, and I'm sure you guys felt it on a much deeper level. But when I saw his memorial, I mean, I've said it before, I'll say it again. I cried like he was my own kid. I just could not imagine what it was like there energetically. And I'm really looking forward. I'm going to turn it over to Jen and let her tell her story as far as how she felt about it. Hi, Miss Italy. Thanks for coming in. A pointer lover. In case, Vita, anybody I missed? Hi, you guys. Thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it. We appreciate you being here to hear about Lyric and Devin and the experience that these ladies had when they went to Mebane and Athlon to respectfully, investigate, I guess. I don't know what you want to call it. I don't know what you want to call it, but I'm going to turn it over to.
We immersed ourselves in the community. Like,
you did. Yeah, you really did. With respect, you totally did. All right, I'm going to turn it over to Jen and let her tell her story of what she felt and what she does, because I think it's super interesting.
So interesting.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate you having me and just being able to talk with you guys. I really admire the way you go into cases. I know that you both, first of all, is my sound okay? Is everything good?
You sound beautiful. Yes.
Okay, great.
Sorry, I had to unmute.
Perfect.
You sound amazing.
Okay, perfect. But I really admire the way you guys go at cases, and if, for lack of better wording, but I love that you go fact based. I'm very much the same way when I look at things, but I also knew at an early age that I had just specific feelings, thoughts. I'll leave it at that for now, but knew that there was more to just, the little brain that was inside my head. So I have indigenous roots and I come from a long line of healers. And it's something that as we learn to heal ourselves, we also want to heal the rest of the world. That's the best way for me to say it. So I call myself an intuitive empath because I do. I've always been an empath. I have those feelings. I want to help others, and I feel things so deeply, not just like I can sense someone's energy, but I feel it so deeply that it can literally affect me physically, that kind of thing. So I have to, be careful. I have to protect my energy and go guarded and things like this. So, I always recommend be careful, know what energies you're working with. I never dabble in anything dark. I've always been brought up in a very spiritual home and believe in God. And, I always call him the Holy Spirit when I'm doing these type ceremonies. So it is a ceremony for me. So I do share things with these ladies and on my channel, and I felt very blessed to have Allie and Elle capture, a few things while we were there. I never will show like a complete video of a ceremony because it's ceremony and, some of it's just very private. But I will say that one thing I've learned that's really important to me, and it won't make sense to a lot of people, but there is a true healing of the land when there's any type of bloodshed. And if there's not a healing or like a return of peace, then yes, you will have spirits linger. You will have what they'll call, don't bury or don't build on an Indian burial ground, things like that. There is a true like restoration of peace, and that comes with just first acknowledgement, and typically by the end of that, full frequency vibration that has been sent out, eventually it will roll out into the community as well and start to help heal the community. Another thing that I do when I'm there is I do try to sense the victims. I try to feel their spirit energy or their spirit guides, spirit energy, if that makes sense. So that's really important to me anytime I go to a site of a crime or where bodies were found. Um, is everything making sense so far? Is that kind of what you're wanting to?
Absolutely.
Okay, great. Just want to make
Yes.
sure that's the kind of info you guys are looking for. So I'll just kind of jump right in and tell you my experience, and then if anyone has questions, can't really see chat. So hello to everyone. Thank you for joining and listening. All of these ladies, I have the utmost respect for, and
If there's any questions, I'll ask them after.
yeah, just you field those, and anything that you think is really important, we can definitely address those.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm gonna be very respectful. First of all, number one to Devin and Lyric, but to their families as well, because this community is still very much distraught and hurt, and with very good reason. So just know I'm going to be extremely respectful in my giving tonight. And I'll say, we met up, and I'm sure the girls have told you a couple of things, but we met up and we did try to see a couple of things before we went to the site just to get an idea of the area, the drive in. I sometimes I will pick up some energy on the way in and feel like, yes, wow, this is exactly where, I think this would have occurred or this makes sense. Sometimes it doesn't make sense, but I tuck it away and just roll with it. But when we got to the scene, one thing I said immediately, and I try to always do, is, let's all just take a quiet moment and make sure our energy's right. Like we wanted to come correct, so to speak. We didn't go there to make a bunch of videos and get pictures and be able to post those on social media so that we could say, oh, we were there, we know a lot about this case. No, we basically know what you guys know. But again, we all approach it differently. So for me, it is like healing the land. And if I can connect with that spirit, that victim, I want to do that if I can. If I can help them in some way, heal and cross over. Spirits have a tendency sometimes to linger when there's unhealed business. So, I've gotten a lot of requests at times. Hey, I think my dad is stuck in this house or stuck here and I want to help him, things like that. So I've done that kind of work before. So I'm accustomed to that. But in these cases, it's always really interesting because I don't want to interfere too much. Sometimes they're here for a reason. And I felt two very different spirit energies that day. So I'll start with Devin. As soon as we got out, I encountered the whole scene. I always like to look around and see what's near. I immediately wanted to kind of look at the distance of the neighbor's house while I was standing there. Um, Mr. White, I think his name was David White, that heard the. Is that right? Was his last name White or am I wrong?
Yes, you're absolutely correct.
Okay. Yeah, immediately there's just a couple things I wanted to see before I even approached, the side, I'll say, where the crosses were. And I'm very well aware that this may not be the exact spot where they were found, but it's in that general vicinity. And it's always important for me just to sit down, feel that ground. I like to put my hands under the flowers, under the memorial, feel the actual ground. You can literally feel the vibration. A lot of people will call it grounding. If you're a person that likes to go outside and get your feet in the grass, if you need that often, then you're definitely very in tune with the universe because your body's telling you, hey, I need to get out there and, get my grounding on. But I like to do that with my hands, not just my feet. And it just helps me to connect on a different level. But I was immediately just drawn to Devin's area. So I walked over there first and, spent a few moments and walked over to Lyrics and spent a few moments and knew immediately, okay, I'm ready. I have a bag in my car and I always take my singing bowl. I love to have those frequency vibrations. The one I have is tuned specifically to the heart. And I wanted them, first of all, to know, I am a spiritual person, a healer, and I'm coming in peace here. And you really do have to go very reverently and just with love. And spirits know. They know. They're just basically all knowing at that point. Sometimes they'll get hung up. It's almost like I almost call it like a filter or a strainer. Sometimes people will kind of get hung up because they just aren't ready to let go. They just can't seem to accept. It's like spirit almost goes through the same thing we do when we experience a death. It's kind of like denial shock. Sometimes that can happen in the spirit world. Now, I'm not saying that those people aren't residing in heaven or where they're supposed to go. I'm not saying that, but your spirit can visit and your spirit can get stuck here or trapped if you're not careful. So, respectfully, I just want to say that anything that I've read in my own readings, I do read several different types of cards. I'm more clairaudible, which means I hear more than I see. So I'm less clairvoyant. I do see, I do get visions, but more hearing. So I hear things a lot more, and that'll kind of set me on a path. What I really wanted to, or I hope to reconcile with Devin after reading everything was to let him know that what happened was not his fault. That what happened, I had this strong energy, and I definitely felt it there on the scene. That in those final moments, he felt somewhat responsible, and he wished that he could change it for her. I deeply, deeply, that was the biggest thing that resided with me. And that fell right in line with everything I have felt, reading him. I'm not saying he was a perfect person. I'm not saying he was the best student. I don't know. I haven't researched that depth, to that depth. What I do know is energy. And the energy that I felt from him is that for those of you that believe in, other lifetimes and things like that, I'll give you this tidbit. He did choose this life. But he 100% had a good heart. I don't know. I can't speak for everything he was involved with, where his life was going just yet. I know he had big hopes and dreams at one point and really wanted to see those come to fruition. But, I don't know what happened. I don't know what hung him up along the way or made him switch paths. But I
Jen,
know
I'm going to
that.
interrupt you for 1 second because I'm going to show a picture while you're speaking
Sure.
of the area where you put your hands
Oh,
on the
yes,
ground.
absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. But yeah, I just kept having that same residual energy feeling that he wished he could change this. And it made me very sad. I knew immediately when I read him the first time that he did know who did this. He considered this person friend, but I feel like he also could have known this person might be dangerous. And I feel like he was trying to protect Lyric in those moments. Um, this is allegedly what happened, in my opinion only, and from my spiritual connection standpoint. Sometimes a little detail here or there will get skewed, but the one just resounding thing that keeps coming through is that this kid was a good kid at heart. I have just gotten that from the beginning. And again, I'm not saying he was perfect, but I kind of want to just, if people have specific questions in a moment, we can look at those, but kind of want to, leave it in that area. I also want to talk about Lyric quickly, just give you a little synopsis about her. Her energy was very different. Um, I believe that Lyric had already experienced some difficulties maybe in her life. I'm not going to really say in what realm, but she wanted something different for herself, definitely. And her energy was not quite at rest. She is still very upset that this happened, how it happened. And it doesn't mean she's not resting in peace. It just means that her spirit's not completely at rest. And it doesn't mean she hasn't crossed over. I felt a lot of her energy there. And I believe it's because she's young and that's the spot where it happened, or where where they were found. So either or, that's the definitely the first place she's going to connect to as spirit, if that makes sense. But I do feel like she's wants to see this through and almost wants to hang on until this comes to fruition, until there's a trial or there's justice. That is the big feeling I got from her. She was definitely frightened. She had no idea that something like this could ever happen to her. I think, she was, it was definitely a shock. And that, again, I think that is part of why she's hanging on a little harder. But I'll tell you real quick too what I do. I use a grandmother sage. I have Palo Santo, things like that. I after using my spirit bowl and just doing some general meditation and things like that, I do clear with the grandmother sage. I clear the actual ground, the entire area, and I just spend a lot of time there, in solitude. And I did some pendulum work as well. Got some very, very clear answers I felt from Devin. I may share some of those going forward, but that for me, pendulum, when I do pendulum work, it's spot on. Like when I really need an answer to something, for me, it's spot on. And I got some really definitive answers as far as, what I was asking, what I was going for. So let me know if you have questions or if you want me to
I
expand
have
on
one.
anything. Okay.
Is that when you were doing the sage? But remember how you said, I know it worked so well around Devin's, but then you had to go like hide behind my car because it kept going out when you were trying to cleanse lyrics area.
Yes. I feel like that was because she is hanging on. And now,
Okay.
me saging and cleansing will not necessarily push her on. She'll move when she's ready. And, sometimes they do that in a guided way, like assisted by me or someone else that knows how to help with that transition. But I didn't force that because I felt like, while I want to let her know that there is going to be justice and we will fight for that for her, it's not really, while I want to assist, it's not my job to force that. It's just my job to say, hey, I'm here. If you're stuck, and you're ready, then I can help that process. And two, she's a baby. She's a baby. Her
And
spirit's going to connect right there, and then her spirit's going to connect wherever she felt like home was. So she's in that area. Her spirit is lingering around.
but it was so interesting for someone like me who I get it, but I don't understand it the way that you do. But I can tell y'all, I do remember seeing you do, because it was after you held the bowl and stuff. And then, yes, you used that lighter. And I saw you walking around Devin's. And then I do, now that I'm thinking about it, I do remember you kind of going to lyrics. But then I was like, where do you get, like, do we need something out of the car? And then you told me later that you had to like, there wasn't even a breeze really, but the candle kept going out as you were trying to even light it around
Yeah.
lyrics, or
And
you would light it and it would go out. It was just like, from a novice and watching
Right.
it and seeing
Right.
it, it
Well, I
was
did
really, it's because
know.
until after you told me afterwards, because I was like, oh, I don't know, there might be a light, like, I don't,
you know what
whatever you
though?
need, take it. Yeah.
She said before that ever happened. See, I kind of just filmed her. I was so, it was the first time I had met Jen, and plus I was always very interested in that stuff. Love listening to her. So I was just so like, that was like I was soaking it all in. I'm like, I'm just gonna take every bit of this in. I sat right real close filming her and watching and stuff. And she was telling me like before she went over there with the sage that she got a totally different feeling and vibe from, one place to the other. And then she goes over there and it does that. And so that was so weird. It was just like, wow.
Yeah, and I mean, if you know how to communicate with most any energy, then you feel that different vibe immediately. Some people call it vibe. Some people will just say you have that different feeling that you're encountering a different energy. But even before we went and I read the two of them individually, I could tell that even though, I kept having that feeling he felt somewhat responsible, at the same time, he is at peace. And she is like, oh, I'm going to see this through. Like, I think she might have been a little bit of a spitfire. I don't know yet. I haven't interviewed anyone about her, but I really get that energy from her. Like, no, I'm going to see this through to the end. I'm going to, and then I will peacefully, finish my crossover. So I'm very respectful of that if that's what I'm feeling. Now, if I had felt like she was like, yes, I don't want to linger here, I trust the process, but I feel like somewhere she might have been failed in her life, so she wants to see this through on her own. That is just the energy that I got. I hope that makes sense, but I feel like she's like, nope, this one I'm going to see this through. I'm
That
going to make
makes total sense.
100% sure that this does not get swept under the rug, because I kind of had that feeling. And everyone, please know, I'm putting this disclaimer out. I'm not saying where that feeling came from. I'm not saying it's family, friends, school. I'm not pinpointing it. I'm just telling you that I think it's important to her because I think she felt somewhere along the way she may have been pushed to the side or swept under the rug. So I just want to make that, that was strong for me. So I'll make that point really clear as well.
So Miss Italy asked if there was a bowl that was there. And I think when you said your singing bowl, I just want to clarify the two, if you wouldn't mind. The bowl that was in the picture was filled with herbs and stuff. Is that correct?
Yes, that was
Yes.
not my bowl. And I actually did a video, and I said in the video on my channel that I was so glad to already see someone started the work that I was coming to do. Because anytime someone passes, different cultures believe different things. Some people take a plate of fruit and bread. Some people do their own blend of herbs and oils. There's oils. I always say oils differently. And people are like, what did you just say? So I'll go ahead and clarify. I'm saying oil.
Oils.
Yes, it's oils. But, people do different things. I also noticed bundles of blue and black candles tightly wound together with twine. Those are ceremonial candles. Those are intention candles. And typically what happens, and Allie can attest to this, I told her what would happen. I said, now, if this is done correctly, and it looked like they were tied correctly, and in ceremony, someone took the time to do this. I hope I'm not getting too far off the question, but yes, I love seeing those things there. There was a bowl of some dried fruit and other things. There was someone had a spell jar there I saw that already had herbs and things in it, and they had melted wax over the lid, so you never open those. And there were just all different kinds of things, and
yes,
that
you
made me
you
feel
didn't
so
finish about
good.
the candle.
Yeah, so I was going to go back to that quickly, but so we saw these bundles, and okay, let me tell you this too. I have been burning a blue candle for Devin this whole entire case from the beginning when we started talking about it. So I pull it out there at the scene, and I light mine, and I look, and I told Allie, I said, see how these are bound? Now, typically in ceremony, white will encompass and resonate with the light, and black I don't even want to say black, I want to call it a dark candle, but people will resonate, oh, black candle, that one is for the dark energy. So unfortunately, that's just how they're labeled. I don't see it as really black and white. I see it as light and dark, and that's how everyone should distinguish with energy, not black and white. So I just want to make that point really clear. But the candles were tightly wound together. Now, most of them are almost burned down to nubs. They're very short. But I told Allie what happens a lot of time is the blue candle is there to represent Devin. And I also brought my blue candle and lit it. The black is actually, it might represent like what happened to him, the evil that encompassed him that night. So I said, I'm going to light these both. I lit every single set of blue and black wound candles. I said, now the blue, if this will come to fruition, this is going to be solved eventually, but the blue is going to overtake the black candle. And it does. The black melted down, the blue still stood burning, and the black would just melt into a wax puddle.
So weird. I could not believe it. Right after she said that, within like 5 minutes,
Yeah,
one of the candles burn out, and there was the blue one left, and the black one burn up completely.
That's amazing.
I've seen this a
absolutely
lot,
amazing.
though. I've seen it a lot, binding and things like that. It's kind of, some people would call it a binding spell. Someone may have not even known exactly what they were doing, but I think they did, because it worked perfectly when I lit their candles as well.
That's amazing. Thank you all for everyone who's coming in that I didn't say hi to initially. I saw some good friends popping by. Jameson, we're so happy that you're here. Megan VR, Sarah, you guys, you mean the world to us. Thank you so much for your support and for coming in and for hearing us talk about this. You have no idea how much it means that you guys came in here. Jen's going over some of the things she felt she saw while she was at the memorial site, I guess, for Devin and Lyric. And it's just kind of amazing because Hi, T. Thanks for coming in. We're going to show you some love when you go live, too. The way that Jen handles things is from such a good spiritual place. It feels good to be around her, and it feels good for me to hear her talk about this. It's very, to me, I mean, personally, and I'm sure that the other girls feel the same, but it's very healing. For all of us that do this work, it's really hard, and it does take over sometimes emotionally. So having someone like Jen in your corner, it's a great connection for me. And it makes me feel like we are making that connection with our victims in the most respectful way.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Tia. That's such a nice thing to say. And my biggest thing again is I want to restore, that peace to the land, because that's going to help heal the community. And then just knowing that those precious babies, I don't want them to hang around that area for too long. You know what I mean? I want their spirits to be at rest and know that this is going to be taken care of one way or another. We will get resolve.
I agree. Yeah. And that's all we want. We just want, that's all
Yes.
we want. I
Yes.
mean, this was senseless, and what we're learning is really hard stuff when it
It
comes to
is.
these kids who are playing. I mean, they're literally playing adults, and they're playing games that adults don't even play, and they're playing with toys that no one should be playing with.
You're right, Tia. And it's sad to see things like this happen. It's so senseless just how someone's either ego or pride or things like that can take over. But, for me, and I know these girls were as well, or I wouldn't have met up with them, teamed up with them, collabed in any way. But the biggest thing for us is absolutely respecting these people, these victims. And I don't want to keep calling them victims, but they are. Their lives were taken from them. But we want to do this the most respectful way and respect these families, regardless of what their relationships were. They lost a baby.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of speculation out there, and I just want to remind everyone that people grieve in very different ways. Sometimes that they can't even function for a month normally. They might not even cry normally for a month because they're so in shock and devastated. So please just be mindful in what you say about parents and step parents and things like that. We all like to know the facts and even speculate, but please just go about it respectfully. That is what Devin and Lyric would want for their families.
Well, and let's just for 1 second, because this brings me back. Mrs. Italy D just said, like Lyric's grandfather said she was a little girl in a grown woman's body. Let's remember that's the same grandfather who went to the scene when called. He's a volunteer fireman, and he went to the scene of his granddaughter. Okay, let's just take a moment there and realize what that must have been like, number one. And number two, Mrs. Concepcion, who is Devin's mom, found out about her son on Facebook, on social media. So there's a lot happening here on how these families are dealing with this and how these families found out about this tragedy. Both, Teresa, both.
Yeah.
Also, I just saw a little something, and I'm sorry to sidetrack everybody, but this is kind of a big deal. And I just saw that Kate hit 1,000. Kate Does Crime. If you are not subscribed to Kate Does Crime, go subscribe to her. She's amazing, amazing, amazing. And she just hit 1,000 people, I think tonight, if I'm not mistaken. Congratulations, Kate. That is quite a big deal. We wish you nothing but success, and keep going, girl. You got our support.
Yes, congrats. That's awesome.
I'm so sorry to interrupt, but I had to.
No.
I
want
love
everybody.
I
Feel
love a
free.
success story.
Absolutely. And in this day and time, we have to celebrate each other's victories. But yeah, everybody jump in when you need to. I think the only other things I really wanted to say is we did talk, to some local folks, and we made a trek out to a little shopping area and wanted to get some things for Devin and Lyrics, their sites there. And, not that they're there, but it's just, it felt like the right thing to do. We kind of wanted to have our own little ceremony at the end all together, I think, and
Mm-hmm.
almost like an unspoken thing. And so we did that. But I met a young man and just felt compelled to talk to him in the store. And as soon as I asked him about, if he knew the kids and if he had any opinions or anything, a huge smile came up on his face. And he said, "Yeah, Devin was my boy." And he said that they basically came up together, played ball together. And I just had the most comfortable feeling come over me to talk to that young man about his friend who he's grown up with and was taken. And he is the one that told me, I won't reveal any details about him. He doesn't need to be stalked, but he told me, he said one thing, and I didn't ask for this, he just said that one thing that really stood out to him was that Devin would never get in a car with someone he did not know. So I kind of felt, or we all kind of felt before, but really felt after that, oh yeah, this was absolutely someone that was in their
Mhm.
close circle of people, not just someone they knew, but a friend.
Yeah.
I
That's the part that stings the hardest, I think, is when it comes from um, someone that in your circle. I
Yeah.
think that's the hardest.
Yeah. And as
Um,
far as reading the other energy at the scene, I will give you guys, I think my biggest takeaway was that to me, allegedly, I'm going to put that in there, and in my opinion, this was a little premeditated, I'm going to say. I don't know if that's the right word, but these thoughts were running. Let me just say it that way. These thoughts were running and racing well before. And when I say well before, I'm going to say at least several days to maybe even a couple weeks. These thoughts were running through. That was definitely my biggest feeling from that. And also, definitely some darkness. Of course, you have to be able to go to that place. And I don't like tapping into those type energies, but definitely was something that was thought of beforehand.
God, that's awful.
Hmm.
Tia, you can. I mean, didn't I tell you that about watching like Gypsy at the end? What I said, like I was like, I don't even know if I'm wording this right about just seeing her like step away. Like, okay, well, I'll just tell y'all all again because Tia's like, no, I don't. But I did say it. That I just said, Gypsy, I watched you at the end, and it's like you kind of took two steps back, and I remember you. When I say like a smile on your face, I'm not talking about like a giddy glee, like happy, but it was like a peaceful, just
Peace.
like
Yeah.
yes.
Peace.
And you
Yeah.
literally sat there for a moment by yourself, and I think your hands even came up to your mouth. And I just, because I was standing, just I don't. But I told Tia about it because I was like, it was the most. Because she just turns around and looks at us after that, and she was like, "I'm so glad we did this." Like just to watch her, like I don't know.
It's really
For,
nice to hear another person's perspective because I never get to see that side of it. But definitely, like, when you're in reverence and when you're showing gratitude, especially,
Mhm,
I guess, in the healing world, it's very common to bring your hands up when you're finished, when you're showing your
mhm,
gratitude and that kind of thing. And I was literally seeing them off and thanking them for visiting, for giving me the little bit of feeling and info, that I felt we
mhm.
got. And I did feel at peace when we left. I don't think I could have left if I didn't, because we all were so kind of awestruck that day. I I don't know what the word is I'm looking
That is
for.
a great word.
Yeah, we were just kind of like, wow,
That was, yeah, it
it's
was
one thing to see
definitely.
pictures, but then when
Mhm.
you're there on scene and then being on scene through video and things like that, and just being present for it, it's
And
heavy. The energy
and
was very heavy at first.
I was
It
telling
is.
Tia earlier that like y'all don't understand. Like we met up, but we just started from assuming whoever picked up Devin, like kind of starting around his house. And even doing that, I just remember being like, that's where I had like the weirdest feeling that I was just like, oh my gosh, I want to get out of here. Like, us like trying to figure, but we got
I
into it.
agree. Remember, I was having a hard
Yes.
time even believing that it was the right house because
Yes.
the energy was scattered all over the place. So it's hard for me to speak on that part just because I wasn't able to tap in like I like to. I just
But I just
couldn't.
remember like the energy of us in the car being like, okay, y'all, hold on. We're real. Okay, first of all, we're really here and doing this. And then I just remember y'all was just surreal. And they're not far apart from one another. So when I say like we started at his house and went all the way to lyrics, really, it's not far. And,
Yeah. And I
but it
think
was a,
one thing that people are going to really, you know, maybe have different thoughts about is that tree line and things like that. When we drove through there, okay, basically, I should say it this way. After we left the scene and went back through and just like drove by their property where Lyric, the area she resided, I don't want to say where and anything like that, but after we just drove those hard roads and then the road with the real thin tree line,
mhm.
I don't know
I
if you
think
guys
we
want to
did
say
that first. I think we did that first,
we
didn't we?
did, but we went back. We went back
We did.
after. And
But
that is when I picked up the most of her energy. It wasn't at the scene. It was there on that road.
it was there because I remember, okay, because we went by the house and we were driving like we were going to pick her up. So we started at Devin's and went a reasonable, logical route to go to Lyrics. And we started there. And so we passed that. And then we were like, okay, let's go ahead and turn down the path because we were also in shock of, you know, what we were looking at. But on the way to Lyrics from Devin's, we passed the site where they
Right.
were.
Right.
And so it was really interesting though, because like for us to start, we actually started with like, all right, let's go get Devin and let's go get Lyric. And then we went to it. But she's right, we did go back and forth several different
Yes.
times. But
Well,
y'all, it is
that's the big thing I wanted to stress when we went back, like when we were pulling out of that road, the supposed road that she snuck to, and well,
mm-hmm,
I think she walked straight through to that road. Now,
mm-hmm,
on the hard road, if you're trying to look through, it does look like it might be a thick line of trees. But once you're on the actual road, the little dirt road or whatever, but behind the tree, it is not woods, it's not a forest. I mean, there's some trees, 8 to 10 feet apart. You
mm-hmm.
can easily get through that so easy. But that is what I felt when you were driving out of that drive. That is when I felt her energy. And I was like, she walked right down this
Like,
road, right to this mailbox. I don't think he ever pulled over. I could be wrong, but
mm-hmm.
I think she got in and was gone.
Because I remember because you were sitting in the back seat, I think that first time. But I remember Allie and Gypsy both going, oh my God, just like as
Yeah.
we were driving, just
Yeah,
both
the
of them,
trees.
they were just both like, you can see everything. And Tia, maybe I'll text those two things to you if we want to show them.
It's
The
pretty
the
unreal, the tree line. It's like so
Yeah.
thin.
Well, and I
Yeah.
think that's a big difference that you guys explained to me because when I look at it on a map, tree lines and woods are miles apart. I mean, we are talking miles apart.
Yeah.
It
Oh yeah.
is open spaces with some trees, is what it was. Yeah, I can definitely show that as you guys talk.
Okay. I know it's in our drive, but I'll send it to you as well.
So Jen, thank you so much. Also, can I ask you a question? And you can say no to this because that's how we roll here. But I know that you left a couple of things from us there, but something in particular that meant something to you. Jen does a lot of humanitarian work, and I want to make sure that you guys know that. You got to go over to her channel, The Incognito Gypsy, and see what she does over there, because it's super duper duper cool. It's like all the things that I love in life, animals and therapy, and it's very calming and a very cool space for me. And a lot of times I fall asleep to Jen, so it's really nice. But
Oh Lord.
but she went away and she left a little something that she picked up for Devin, and it just touched me so much. I don't know if you want to talk about that or if you want to save that.
Yeah, no, I'll go ahead because that was actually one of my favorite pictures. I actually laid down on the ground before we left. It was dark, but I laid down on the ground right on Devin's spot and made a photo. And I'd gotten like a clear white candle, a jar candle at the Dollar Tree, and brought that there. We got a lot of different things, but this specific candle, I went to Jamaica recently and went and did mission work for. I love animals, so I went there and worked with the spay neuter program and just education for the locals and things like that. So I brought back just one of the little the wristbands that everyone puts their logos on or their little slogans and things. And I got a Jamaica bracelet. Jamaica is just near and dear to my heart. But on the other side, it says One Love. And when I met Devin's friend in the store and talked to him, I told him, I said, when you go back to the site, you look for this bracelet. I'm going to leave it. That's me. And that's my cue that I went back and, visited him tonight. And it's very special. I wore it the whole time I was there doing my work. I wore it in the sea when I was snorkeling. Like, I did everything in it and had not taken it off until that night. But it was important for me to leave. Even if someone grabbed it the next day and put it on, I just wanted to stress to that one person, it really is about one love, y'all. That's what it's about. I love that photo.
I do too, and I love that you left that there. It's so special.
Well, I have a serious connection with these kids, and once you tap in, especially to energy, it's hard to get away from that. And you do want to see justice. You want to see it come to light in your time. And I know sometimes these things can drag, but I'm putting out all good energy for very swift justice. And I also think that anyone that knew, aided, had any knowledge immediately after, I hope that they get justice as well.
Oops, absolutely. Cam slipped. That was me. Hi. I just put my hair up too, so that was cool. Allie, so I want to hear what your thoughts were. Like, this was the first time that you and Jen got to meet. You've been friends for a long time, but you actually got to meet in person, number one. And you got to meet in person on this case. How was that for you? Like,
Oh
what
my
was this
gosh.
experience like for you?
Tell them
Well,
about your chills, Allie.
yeah, I got as soon as I got there, covered in chills, and I was like, "Oh my God, look!" And because she's always talking about when she, is reading something, and so it was just so funny that as soon as I got like around her, my whole body was covered in chills, and I mean my legs and everything. I showed her, but okay, it was just so that was super special for me because I love Jen, and I've always had a connection with her. So I think just getting to meet in person. Also, I love LFT, so it was nice to. I'm comfortable with her. She drove a lot of the way, so that was nice to have somebody, driving some and stuff like that. And we got lots of laughs about on the way back, but anyways, so that was fun. But also it was just like super special in general. Like I said, even just like your response when we got there to like just I don't know, all of it together, it just felt so one surreal, emotional, special. It was to the point where I just like I didn't even want to like film in like me anything. Usually I would have went down there and like pulled my phone out and kind of like talked as I filmed around and stuff. And I just didn't do that at all. I just like filmed Jen and filmed like when we were all together in the car. But a lot of the time I was just kind of soaking it in. I think I was just wow. And even it took me days to like do that. I came back and I was so tired and I just like it took me a couple of days to emotionally get back to normal.
I
Oh,
was
yes.
I was literally in the pockets and I was exhausted the next day. I can't even imagine how you guys were because the next day I was just
Yeah, I spent the next day in the recliner. It literally wipes you out when you do the
Yep.
energy work. And I
Ooh.
laid in the recliner the next day like a recluse. But I mean, that's what you do when it's a day of it. And I know they were mentally, emotionally, physically exhausted as well. It takes a
Oh
lot
yeah.
out of you.
it
Yeah.
does.
I was so tired, and I think the very next day, I had to work this concession stand at Trenton's game, and I was just like, oh my God. So then it took an extra day or so to totally get back to normal, but it's worth it. It is so worth it because it just made things like, even though we already know, like, these are real people and stuff, right? If you don't
Mhm.
go, and you can still, I've covered cases I've never been to with so much passion and love and everything, but it's just a cool, like, it's just a cool thing to do when you're I don't know, it just makes things feel even more real and even more um it just adds a lot more emotion to it.
Well,
But
and
I
you
will
went
say,
to Summer Wells too. So is this your second experience going to
yeah.
something?
Yeah.
Okay.
The most like intriguing part for me, I think, was that back road because we got to see the woods, we got to
Hmm.
see that besides the crime scene, and we got to see that the ditch where her iPad was found, and you could almost envision her that night,
And it
like
Yeah.
once
makes,
you could see
and
it.
once y'all see the property too, because it is their own, like, I mean, the family, they've got a great piece of land right there. It's very homey. You know what I mean? It's very warm, like just
Yeah,
very, I don't even know. Because remember too, you're going out and some people know it better than others, but where there's, well, let's go with like a football field between each house. You know what I mean? You're not cookie cutter right on top of one another. And
yeah,
God, just like pulling in because it's weird. I mean, I'll be the first to admit I snuck out when I was in high school, and I can tell you, like, I don't. I'm scared of a lot of things, and the dark does not help me, like in terms of being scared. But like, it made sense to me. I could see myself doing exactly what she did because as much as it's like, you're in the dark for a minute, you know that someone is waiting for you right there, and you just have to like do this quick cut through and it's
yep,
really it's not as like she was hacking like trekking through the woods to go. She basically was just trying to avoid any cameras on the front, and there are several houses with on that drive into that property, and so the like she couldn't run straight out the front and out the side because I'm pretty sure every house would have had at least at minimum, a front camera somewhere.
yeah.
So it'd have been like, oh, the gig is up. I mean, and
Yeah.
And
I
you
don't mean that
see
lightly,
that,
but yeah.
yeah. And you see, okay, and another thing that I don't think two things. I don't think somebody could have driven like all the way back to her house on that back road because the gig would have been up then too. They would have seen headlights. Those woods are
Hmm.
so thin.
Hmm.
Oh,
And
yeah. There's
then
no way.
yeah, and then when you see that ditch and you know that her tablet was found there and you see the distance from the houses, it makes
Hmm.
perfect sense. She was grounded from her phone. She was using it for Wi-Fi until she lost service. I'm sure like when she couldn't use Wi-Fi anymore, she set it down for when she came back.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, you can just envision it. I could almost like just see her doing it like in my
No,
head.
Parker, there's no motive yet, love. We're still we have our theories, but there's actually they've just announced this person who's done this. There's no motive yet, but I'm sure that'll be coming out any day now. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Allie.
No, that's okay. Yeah, I was pretty much done anyways. I'm just happy to have you guys to do all of this with because it makes it just even that much cooler than
Oh my
doing it on,
gosh.
you know, on
The
your own.
connection alone, just that we've all had, with this case,
Mhm.
I could see us going on and collabing on some other things for sure. But this case, there's just something that all of us have. I think Tia said it best earlier today. We all kind of feel the same way about and agree on similar. We have some things that we may say, oh, I think it might have gone down this way. But just the respect level. I'm so
Hmm.
comfortable talking to you guys about things, and
Yeah,
I
I
love
think
the
we'll go to
respect
trial
that you
together.
have. Oh, absolutely. We're gonna see
Agreed.
it through to the end.
Oh yeah, I want this. Yeah, so I can't even put that into words. Yes, Allie, absolutely, and 110%. I will.
Tia, I
LFT.
sent
I
I
know.
sent
I
you
was
the
just gonna
stuff.
say, are you able to? I can hit share screen, but I have like 14 things open, and I
I
am
don't know.
so afraid I'm gonna hit
I
the wrong one.
my StreamYards doesn't even have like on the phone. I can't say.
Oh, okay. Well, I want to make sure that we show you guys a few things here. So just if you can give me 1 second, you guys, to share. But
I already remember how good my computer's done all day today.
yeah.
Okay, so you get why I sent it to you
Listen,
Yay.
instead of
Miss
me.
Italy D, yes, you're damn straight. And I'm going to say it just like
Yes.
that. You're damn straight. We're going to be including you in those plans, sister. We need you
I was
there.
just I was just about to say, she said, I'm down. I'm going.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's spot on too with her feelings as well. And she's got some really cool things. Um, she's had some thoughts as well that she shared that believe me when I tell you, she is our kind of girl, and hell yes, you're with us. Hell yes. We love
I
you too.
wonder if I wonder what the laws are and what the norm is for cameras in the courtroom in the state of North Carolina. That'd be
Mm.
interesting to find out.
I'm going to tell you,
Well,
we're going to find out.
let's see. We've had the Jeffrey McDonald case, so that was as, I guess,
I was gonna,
media friend,
yeah, I
media
was gonna
friendly as possible
say,
back then.
yeah. I think there's been some special circumstances, but yeah, I believe it's 100% allowed.
hmm
Don't quote me on that. That's just my
Wait, is the McDonald case that doctor from the army?
Yep, yep.
yes.
Oh my
Oh,
gosh!
okay.
And a family friend of ours, it was on the jury. It's wild. Yeah,
Oh, that's super cool.
yeah.
Yeah, I
It was
watched that on
crazy.
like ID channel or something
hmm
before I got into true crime YouTube, and I was just like into true crime cable on TV.
I remember I watched the Netflix about it, and I saw the name like because they were interviewing the jurors. It was in the past like year or two that they did it. I think it was Netflix. I remember calling my dad and going like, "What? Wait a minute! I just saw," and he was like, "Oh yeah, you didn't know that?" Like saying, and he was like, "I didn't know he was on flipping Netflix. That's awesome, but yeah, I didn't tell you about that in
So
your
I'm
cool.
38
trying to
years
get
of
this
life."
to come up correctly without doxing everyone here. I'm going to show you the video first, and you guys can narrate if that's okay. If that's okay.
If anything, the only thing it's going to dox is I don't think it will dox anything with the
Oh,
video.
how wrong you are.
Lynn, if they move it to adult court, then yeah, it's going to be like just as if he was an adult. But if it doesn't move, then no, we wouldn't get anything. We wouldn't get cameras. We wouldn't get
Mm-mm.
anything.
Parker, I'd be absolutely honored to help you.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. And I'll give you everything we got on that one too. I had no problem. I'd be happy to help you. I'm going
I'll
to
send,
share this video, and I'm going to let these ladies tell you about where they were and what it is. Hang on.
it may have
Can
been the
you see
second one.
this?
Okay, I can't remember.
I thought this was daytime, so I hit it.
No, keep going. I think
Wait,
I.
no, 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 no. No, we can't keep going. I'm just going to
No. The other one was daytime too. I just can't remember which one. Allie, do you remember?
I'm going to hit play with no sound. But I can't. I'm going to play this one first because
Okay. Let's just
I'm
We'll
scared.
just play and see.
yeah
I don't
roll it.
remember, but
Tia, is this my video or Allie's?
Actually, I'm not 100%.
Okay.
Right, we're on
LFT
Creek's
just sent it to
Crossing.
me.
Yeah, this is the behind.
Yeah, this is my video. I zoomed in on the little pond right there. This is a good one to do because I think we go back and show the woods and I
Yeah, now
turn and zoom in on the
see
house.
that tree line you just passed? See how we kind of went across? That's where it looks thick. But as you start driving through, you'll see it's not thick. It's only thick in that front area right there.
And wait, y'all, you can literally see them like out in the backyard.
Yep, it's crazy. I
Yeah.
get a good view of the house.
I was gonna say, and it may show it in this one, but I think I sent a different video, and I videoed the trees all the way down through there while she was getting the drive. Yeah, that's what it looks like right there, all the way through.
And as you go even closer, so y'all now I think we probably just hit the first house on their property, and now actually maybe nowish.
Not yet.
And now we're hitting the second, and now we're hitting the second. That's the second one on the property.
I thought we were at the end.
So wait a second. Is this where she would have had to run through?
No, we're at the end right there. We're down at the end of the property right there.
But that, in terms of the houses, when you come down Genovia or whatever their driveway is. Genovia. If we had turned down Genovia Drive, we had passed one house on the right.
Oh,
and then
yeah.
If we kept going straight.
Right
yeah, sorry. So that's what I meant in terms of the second house. Gotcha. Like the two that face their backs to Creek's Crossing and the front of the house facing like the pond.
Yeah, do that one more time if you don't mind.
I don't mind a bit. I'll show you whatever you.
So now see that tree line? That looks extremely thick when you're looking at it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And when it comes back across, right here? Right through here. Okay, that looks really thick.
Yeah, it's like a quarter of that.
Now, I wish, I'm going to see if I can find my video, because what I show going down that road is all the trees. Like, you could see the back of houses and things, so we'd probably need to not show the beginning, but.
Well, the next one that she's got is going to be after we turn around and coming back up.
Yeah. Cool.
And you get a little bit of a different view. But.
Yeah.
That was
just be careful at the end, Tia. Just so because I know there's the back of houses at the very end, probably.
Okay.
But we could really, but y'all, there were people in the backyards. You know, they were out and about as we were driving down.
But look at how open that is right there.
That's what we're saying.
That's the sneaking through the back, and that's literally if you cut through the back of those first, whether she's the front house or the second house.
And you're gonna see.
That's what it looked like.
You may see this side ditch as well soon.
Yeah, and you get a good view of that in the second one.
In the second one,
okay. Right there.
Let me stop sharing and go to.
Will you show the map of the straight line though, so it shows where the difference between the tree line, how it looks on Google, versus what we were just driving?
I think it's this one. Yes, I sure will. I say this with such confidence, don't I? Yes, I'll show that, ladies.
And sorry, I'm making y'all all sit through this because I was like, I need to see it.
Oops, no, I'm not. Hold on. See, if I would have done it like that, I would have doxed everybody. Can't do that. Hang on one second, guys. I'm so sorry. I'm not good at this sharing thing.
Yes, you are.
I'm good at the research thing, not the sharing thing.
I know, you're doing just fine. And I know Mrs. Italy, she says, I'm sweating just looking at this video, just imagining her that night. Oh. And that's how it was there. It was like, and even now, it's like I have this image of her in my mind. Like I can just picture what she did.
Can't you see her like in the sweatpants too, just going to hang out? Like not a party, but just meeting up with some friends for a minute. You're comfortable enough with them to run out. You know, you don't have to be all dolled up, for lack of a better word. Like it was like.
Yeah, and although I do know,
like, there you go. That's what it looks like.
When you see it from above, it definitely looks like it's thick wooded area, but when you see it from your perspective, it's, I would call it tree lined, right?
Yep. I just thought that was really interesting.
It's a bit different, yeah.
I picture her wearing her sweatpants, but still, I think she had her makeup done. and all of her necklaces and her
Yep.
bracelets and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But their TikToks of her and her friends, like, like on the weekends too, just out like walking, like in the cul-de-sac of the neighborhood, and she's just cute posing by the stop sign. And it's like one of those kind of nights. So she's still super cute, or maybe not quite as much makeup, but you know what I mean? Just like,
Yeah.
just running out.
This 15-second one,
That
is
might
this the
be.
one you want me to show?
Let's
Oh,
try
goodness.
it.
Yeah,
It's
just
probably gonna be
try
like
it.
me going, you have to redo
No,
that.
I'm not playing sound. Oh yeah. Hang on one second. Oh, okay. Cool beans.
We will
I didn't play
see.
sound either.
Let me actually talk amongst yourselves. I just got a new one. I'm going to show that one.
Yay.
Okay.
Thanks, Gypsy. Thanks, Allie.
Let's do this. Guys, bear with me just a second, please. I want to make sure that I am downloading so that I can get it off of where I...
Wait, I'm reading about the lizards in chat.
There's lizards in chat?
What? Maybe it was just... No, in my phone. Yeah. I thought I saw a lizard. It's Kate, where are you? Are you? Yeah, she's here. So that makes sense.
Goodness gracious, I can't.
You said talk amongst yourselves.
I know. I want to be careful sharing this because for some reason it's not letting me cut out.
Jen, did we see any like house numbers or anything? I doxed myself.
No, that's not my problem with it. But I just have to.
I know there's one of
I can't share this one yet. I'm gonna have to download this one and share it because, oopsie, we lost her.
Mrs. Italy, I don't remember.
I apologize, you guys.
No. Well, what was it? Did it say something?
It has her name, and I don't want to.
The other one that I sent with, I think the shorter one of Allie said, I do think has the ditch in it, right, Ellie? Like the
it's a good one because you get a really good view of the. So the first one was going down, and I just kept showing like glances of each direction. The second one is when we're turning around, coming back up, and it's more focused on the ditch and that tree line.
And that ditch, y'all really, I mean, don't get me wrong, it didn't run to the corner of Creeks Crossing and Mount Willing, but it ran like the length of the property. I mean, even to the open field area.
Yeah.
So I could.
So you guys think that he didn't even pull in the road, right? Like most likely.
I think he pulled up on the side of, how like before, if we hadn't have turned down it, but it just, pulled over to the side and sat there at the entrance.
Yeah. Yep.
I think that I could. I mean, it makes not in a weird, creepy way, but it makes total sense.
That's what I think too.
Hold on one second. I think I got this. Tara, happy belated birthday.
Yes.
Happy belated birthday. Okay. So really quick, Jen, you told me to be careful at the end. Should I be careful at the beginning as well? Or where can I roll this beautiful bean footage? How would you like me to do this? I want to be respectful and careful of what you say. I'm going to try. Here we go. I think that's a pretty good indication of how thin it is. Without playing the video at all. I think that's a pretty good indication. Oh, let's not do sound. Of how thin the woods are there. I'm going to play
this part? Oh, okay. Yeah, play.
This is at the very end down where we turned around.
Okay. Tell me when to stop.
That's the first house right there as you pull it.
Yeah, it's actually okay because we're going so fast, I think. But I mean, this is the trees. This is the woods. This is the
Yeah, the
the
wooded
hammerhead
area that
wooded.
everyone's been.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then watch how it opens up. Boom. Soon, right?
See, that's the very end where it does look
Mm-hmm.
thicker.
Okay.
And then it's like, hello, freedom.
Wow.
Just open land kind of feel.
So where did this start? Did this start by the back of their house here?
It
No,
goes,
well, it is behind because it's on that same road, but it started when we got to the end of the road. I started a new video coming out.
Okay.
so we're
So
just
that's
riding
all
back
the
up
way
that
down.
same path.
That's all the way down the road,
Yeah.
turned around and coming back up.
Jeez. Okay.
So that's still Creek's Crossing that runs behind their houses, behind their property.
Okay. All right. I see.
So now,
Okay.
Yeah,
like,
just way on down the road started.
Okay.
Mhm.
So then over here, and I
that's at
just
the
sped it
beginning.
up.
Yeah,
That's
that's at the beginning.
Yep, that's the
Right.
pond there.
Mm-hmm.
okay. All right. Wow. Wow.
I don't know.
Yeah, so the only thick area is literally right there at the beginning, which is smart if we're going to have a thick area because then people can't see through. But driving down that road, you can see everything.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh. And you
And
guys
to
got
be
some amazing video and
really
It was
honest,
quick. It was very quick.
yeah,
She went and it didn't take her no time to get there. And it was,
I
she
did
also
take up
didn't
the
want to be
pace.
seen. So,
Yeah, I
they were
did take
moving.
up the pace a bit because there was a car behind us at one point, and we kid y'all not, it turned into the Genovia Drive, and we turned into the next drive. Like it was, they were right behind us, but it was someone going on, like, I don't know. And then we were just like, okay, look, but still, let's do this because technically we weren't trespassing or anything like that, but it was, I did go a little fast. Sorry.
I was going through some of the pictures, but I'm going
And
to
we
save
did it,
some.
and so y'all know, we also went back. So this was even before, I think, our first trip to the memorial site or to, the power line easement where, where the crime occurred. And
Yes, these were the initial videos.
but we also went back at night before we even left to go, head our separate ways. We went back and we drove it, and I know y'all took video of that too, but it was, I mean, it's surreal when we go do it at night in the dark too. I don't think we went down quite as far, but we did drive it till we could see, behind the houses. And
I got those photos of the street sign in the dark, and it's just so eerie. Like they're just the
Mhm.
most.
Agreed. It really is. Allie, I wanted to hear a little more, like if you had any other thoughts, like while we were there, or I know you take, your own approach to cases and you're really good about getting the facts, but you're also very open with people. So I was
Yeah.
just interested to hear some of what your thoughts were after being there, meeting some people. Like, how do you
Mm.
feel?
Well, I felt one thing. I think I, you know, the ladies that came out there, I loved that. It showed me that because there's not that much talk about this case, but at least we know that the community is concerned. And I mean, a lady came up to see the scene while we were there. A lady followed us there from the dollar store. They were very, so that was nice to see. I will say, like, just the whole, like, if you want to talk about like vibes, um, I don't know. I enjoyed being there with you guys, but also if I talk about like the vibe when you're there, I just I don't like it. I felt it just felt eerie, and it was so shocking to see like exactly how close that house was. That was another thing I really took away. You could hear the men talking at the vehicle, that were working on the house of the man who heard the shots, who was
Yes,
interviewed by the news,
that is
and
true.
yeah, and we were told, Michelle had came on and said she went to the crime scene and took photos for me, but she said there were no houses nearby, and we knew there was, but just to see it in person, I mean, from his porch, you can see their crosses in pictures. That's crazy to me.
And
Um,
even if the crime scene's a little further back from where the crosses are, it's still right there. So I think
yes, agree.
it's yeah, it's eerie.
Well, I know from
Yeah,
where we were standing, which was very close to the right up on top of the site, I
Hmm.
actually made mention to these girls and said, listen, there's a service van across the road at this guy's house. I can actually hear the words they are
Hmm.
saying to each other. That's how, and they weren't yelling. They're just having
yeah,
a conversation where they're outdoors. And
Well,
I
hear
it's
the
kept
only
burning.
words.
500 feet away from
Yeah,
point to
like
point, and
literally
it
the
was an open area. I mean, I think we have pictures of that too.
yeah. It's
Yes.
all
And guys, everyone please know, we're not talking about the guy that heard the shots in any derogatory way. Not at all. We're just making a point of how close it truly was.
Yeah, I mean, we're
and
just stating a fact.
I
Um,
will
and
say, I
we.
think after being there, after Jen like did her thing, the energy felt better. It felt like so heavy when we first got there. One, it was
Hmm.
kind
Mhm.
of shocking. You're just like shocked to just be
Hmm.
there and see it, right? But it's all just had a heavy feeling, and after it didn't feel as heavy. I will say that.
it didn't feel as heavy when you guys left. Is that what you said?
Yeah, yeah.
That's
It,
amazing.
No, I think it was. I have to agree. Yeah, I agree with that. It didn't feel as heavy, but it was like a new heavy that I didn't realize I was feeling until I got home. That it was
yeah.
like a whole like just. I think the excitement and bittersweetness of the entire day kind of hits you once you're finally removed and you step foot in your own home again.
Yeah,
But
I
it
think the
but it
realness of it all.
yes, and that's what I guess I didn't see that coming because I think I was fine. I don't even know. I think I was kind of fine when we were there and just kind of taking it all in. But when I got home, it was kind of like I still had my sea legs. Like and I couldn't, and I was exhausted. Like we were all exhausted. And then I remember you telling us like at least shower or be sure, to fresh like wash. And I did everything except I couldn't. I was so tired, but yet couldn't shower. And I was like, okay, I'll change everything, but I'm doing dry shampoo and lotion. And but then I made Tia talk to me because I was like, I don't even know what's wrong with me. I can't even describe the feeling.
Yeah, the
It's
amazing thing
very
and that I want
heavy.
everyone to know is that not only did these wonderful women go, but they also took time with a stranger who just drove up out of nowhere to pay
Hmm.
her respects. She didn't know the victims or anything, but she just stopped by because she was in the area and she knew the story. And they all got an opportunity to have a moment of silence and a prayer together. And I thought that was the coolest thing. I mean, to be a part of that
Hmm.
moment of peace and wishing someone else peace and you know I don't believe in strangers, so I think everything happens for a reason, and bless that lady who walked up and
Yeah, she
had,
was great.
Yeah.
They
wasn't
were
she
both great.
amazing?
She
You
was
know
Yeah.
great,
what?
and she went through that. I requested that we all have a moment of silence, and she stood right there with us, and was
Yeah.
very present, and just she was praying
Yeah.
right there with me when I was praying. She was just right there with me, just encouraging, and right up
Something
in it. And
interesting. You guys connected with Devin, and I felt like seeing her cross. Like I don't know. I just kept thinking about. I guess like I have a niece that's like 15, and I have and I remember being in high school, and I just like seeing all of her little bracelets and her water bottle. Oh my God,
Hmm.
her water bottle, and like it just
that's what killed me, I think, Allie, were the
ah
bracelets, seeing the friendship bracelets and the scrunchies. It just reminded me
yeah.
again how truly young this girl was.
That was my thought. I'm like, this is like this is a baby. Her entire life was stolen from her. And Jen was just telling me like, she doesn't feel at peace like he does. And I'm thinking, she's pissed. She's like, she must be, right? Her whole life was stolen from her. And she's like, what the hell happened to me? Like, and I just, oh, I don't
That's
know.
a good way to
Sad.
describe it. I did feel that energy, just her saying like, "No, I'm not completely leaving until I see this through."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi,
That
Melissa. Thanks for coming in.
That actually reminds me of something else that someone pointed out, and to be really honest, all of this didn't click for us until after the fact, but the lovely lady, I want to say it was the first lady that pulled up while we were there in the afternoon, she was telling us about how she had just been wanting to come but was hesitant, but saw us and was like, okay, I'll pull over. Very nice. But she was talking about she's from the area, and her son actually, I think a couple of her children may have also gone to Eastern Alamance, which is where Devin went. And her boys played football. And she started talking about how she spoke so highly of that the team and the coaching staff, and I have to admit, for me, is naive or kind of rose-colored glasses as it may sound. She made the comment of I believe she said something along the lines of that, like when her senior year for her son, she was like, that coach made sure every senior on that team graduated. And for a second, I was like, well, of course, like everyone graduated, but I had to like remind myself, damn, not everyone graduates, and that they really bolstered those boys, that coaching staff, as far as can remember back, it was to keep those boys in line. And so that was just very interesting to hear about, the engagement within the community and the sports, and helping to develop these kids, because there are things that could pull you in other directions. And not only that, she was like, well, that's crazy because the team had a bye that weekend. And all of us were going, well, heck, hold on. I didn't even think about that. Or at least I was. So technically, Devin, the football game that Friday night, Eastern Alamance had a bye. So they weren't even playing. But what's more than that is how we realized, once we've been going through more stuff, y'all, Devin wasn't playing this year, which is why I believe there was some confusion when the reports first came out, referring to him as a junior versus a senior, because in terms of football, and he was a great player, but the highlights and everything that they were showing about this high school student that was just found, in terms of football, they were showing clips from his junior year. And it seemed like something he was very dedicated to, but all of a sudden this year, for some reason, he's not a member of the team. And that's when the whole football thing clicked, at least for me. And I don't mean that implies that it directly impacts what happened to them or not, but for me, it signifies there was a change in Devin. Something was going on for him not to be. There's a reason he's not playing, whether it's, education, like student athlete rule wise, or another reason. But it's all of a sudden like a change in maybe his environment, something he was dealing with. And I think that speaks to who he could have been associating more with. Not that it makes him a bad person, but just that something else could have been going on.
Yeah,
And so the fact,
Before I
completely
forget, I
agree.
want to get to this question because Pointer Lover asked this a long time ago. Did he report the shots right away? I'm assuming you're talking about the neighbor. And he reported the shots when he did not report them the night that he heard them. He reported them after the victims were found.
Yeah,
And
and
I'm so
I want
sorry
to
to
point out
interrupt you.
really quickly that it's very common to, not necessarily at 1:30 or whatever in the morning, but it's very common for people to shoot and hunt in North Carolina. It is just a lot of people still do it to feed their families. We actually
Yeah.
saw, while we were there, people in trucks, and it looked like, I mean, they could have been checking their deer cams, putting out deer corn. There's a ton of things they could be
Shoot, in
doing.
their backyard. They had the shooting
Yeah.
Exactly.
range.
Exactly. This is somebody's backyard, basically. If they own this
Yeah.
land, it's like,
Well, and I had a
so
lovely
just know that
subscriber
it
sent
is
us
very
video
common.
of gunshots in the neighborhood there, just target practice, just every day. She said it's all
Yeah.
day, every day, all night, every night. So,
Yeah.
Melissa Jade, you're killing me with the hot at it. By the way, I just had to say that.
you
Hot at it.
hotted.
Hot at
Don't you go hot in this.
But that was
Oh,
a
he
good
threatened to
question,
strike
Pointer
me
Lover.
over our
It
video.
really was a good question.
What?
Yeah, because I think it's important, to ask questions like that because you do want to know, like, what are the actual details? How did this go down? And,
Mhm.
that stuff that's going to unfold, obviously, if we go to trial. But that's something I was really interested in, too, as far as, questions go.
I also wanted to touch on learning about Devin not playing football his senior year. I do have some thoughts on that, and there's a million good reasons why he didn't do it. There's a million. Okay. There's a million reasons why he may not have played. And I don't know what they are yet.
Yeah,
I know. I
I'm
said,
so
speculation.
sorry.
by
I
the
just
way,
read that.
and outside the
But
box, negative. I'm
I,
writing negative. You're not the only one.
I think it's important to note that we don't know why he wasn't playing ball, but I do think that there's a slight factor in there as to why. And note that he was not the only one, but senior year to me, when you're trying to do something big with your life, that's a really, really, really important year when you're going to college for ball. So the fact that he wasn't on the team for whatever reason that is, I don't know if it was his choice or someone else's choice, and those are miles apart, by the way. I touch on it because I do think it has some relevance, and it's
Kind of
just
like
I may be the only one who thinks that, but I do. I think it speaks to what was going on in his life during the time of his death. That's all. That's the only reason.
I think it
Yep.
plays into the whole concept of nature versus nurture. Like, I mean, you can nurture someone, but then what's your environment?
Yeah.
You're dealing with both. Um,
Well,
and
I told
the
you guys
same goes
earlier.
the same goes
Oh,
for
go
the
ahead.
suspect. Oh, I'm sorry. I think the same
It's
goes.
okay.
I mean, for the love of God, I'm saying it with every ounce of grace that I have. But I hope this kid has a legit reason, like struggling with something even more, which maybe he has been because it's speculated that he's had poor behavior in other states and things going on. So I don't know if there's something underlying that's causing this and that made him pull in one direction, but it just is tragic. I mean, it's not right. It's
I
it's
know
a
for
waste
me
of
when I was,
three people.
yeah, it is 3 young lives. For me when I was younger, like I was very serious about sports. I was a cheerleader, but I also did gymnastics and in West Virginia, like our cheerleading, they take it really serious. Like they're very advanced. Like when I see the cheerleaders at the high school that down here compared to there, it's a huge difference. But Trenton goes to a very small little private school too. But regardless, when I started partying and doing that kind of thing, I quit cheerleading because you can't go to practice every day and go hang out with your friends and do that stuff. And you gotta, I don't know, you just can't keep up with that kind of responsibility while also, and this is just complete speculation. I don't know. I'm just saying that a good way to keep your kids out of trouble is keep them in sports and activities. And when they don't have that, they're they're more likely to get into trouble and deal, just kind of the way I see it. So.
I agree. I want to do another live with you guys. We touched on the spiritual side tonight and kind of like the feeling side tonight and all that stuff. Would you guys be willing to do one where we like brought up the maps and talked about some facts and stuff like that?
Of course.
Absolutely.
I guess. Yes,
Okay.
of course.
Lane Cobb said, I know the family on Lyric's side, and there are still no names being mentioned on the news here, but y'all and the NC beat have it. Yeah, we weren't the only ones. I mean, it's out
Well, I
there.
mean, we don't have it. We just are reporting on what's being put out there. Yeah. So, but it's definite. I mean,
I mean, it's out there. I do think there's no doubt because, I mean, I saw it. I kept checking the court thing, and then I got an alert about it, and this afternoon. At least we know that he's been to court.
And that friend reached out to me, you know, and
you can update
yeah,
on
there's
that.
You know,
Yeah.
people are reaching out, and that's the thing. I think that's super important. And Allie has had people reach out to her who, I guess you want to say, they're willing to talk. So.
Yeah, alleged friends. Alleged friends that
Alleged, yes. Thank you.
They'll do it for a price.
Yeah, regardless, he says, you know, his friend is in jail, the person that we're looking at and the name that's been put out there. And you know, so I don't know.
Who has the question above? I'm so sorry I missed.
Wait.
Crazy Mama, tell me who has the question and I will ask it. Oh, good gravy.
I bet it was that one.
Was it from Tinder? Was it from Tinder Hot?
No.
What the
Why
hell?
are you even talking about that? Stop that. Goodness.
Should I just fall off panel? How do you want to do this?
Oh, Lane. Okay, I got it. Crazy Mama. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. But yeah, I definitely as much as I want to go into facts and some of the stuff that we know, I feel like this particular live are like we touch on the spiritual side and we touch on how everyone felt, and I kind of want to leave that there. Like I want you guys to understand how special this was for us, and I will be happy to do a live when it's convenient for everyone else, talking about what some of the facts we know and have about the case.
Agreed, Tia. I like that very much because
you like that. Okay, good.
I do, because we did have a very, even though part of it felt like work and we were exhausted, like we said, we had a very deep connection that day to the case, deeper than before, and have since then. And I don't want to tarnish that in any way. And
that's exactly how I feel. Thank you.
Yeah, and I think that the next time we can definitely start talking about more logistics and the facts we do know, and maybe even what people are speculating on out there in some ways. But I agree. I think that what we did was very special, and I want us to make sure we honor it and keep it that way.
I agree. And so on that note, I'm going to thank you guys for being here, and I'm going to thank you guys for traveling, and I'm going to thank you for keeping me in your pocket, and for filling me in, and I won't say who, what, when, where, how, but I was on the phone a lot that day, and it felt good, and it was amazing. So I'm really grateful for that. Thank you for including me. Next time I will be there without a doubt, and it'll be a 5-some.
Mrs. Italy.
With Mrs. Italy.
Yeah.
And anyone else we can drag along with us that wants to learn. And
you don't necessarily, if you want to come, but you need an in, if you just mention Cracker Barrel, anything along those lines, we're kind of like, that's awesome. They're like us. And we'll just take them from the Cracker Barrel to wherever we're going. So just for the record,
Yeah. I thought of that when Tia was saying thank you. I was thinking, well, thank you for the place to meet. I know LFT would thank you for giving us the Cracker Barrel.
I was like, I have to pee, but first I have to play around and show y'all everything I like.
If you look at the top right corner of your screen, you will see a picture of Devin doing what Devin liked to do. He was playing football, number 4, wide receiver, 6'3". I mean, he was just a chiseled human being. Like, what a lovely, lovely, lovely kid. And if you haven't seen Lyric, I'm going to share some pictures of Lyric on our community post. She is stunning. I mean, we are talking stunning.
That
These
breaks my
two
heart,
souls,
though.
I know these two
Looking
souls
so
were
young.
just
So
taken
young.
so young. Yes, hashtag LLD and hashtag triple L. That's for long live Devin and long live Lyric. Thank you so much, you guys, for everything that you've done.
Thank you so much. You guys are very gracious hosts. I appreciate you having me and just,
We
going
love
through this
you.
with me.
Gosh, I'm so glad you're part of this with us. I really am.
Me
And thank you
too.
all so much for being here tonight. And
Yeah.
separately
Thank you,
and
chat.
together, we're all going to do lives covering this case because it needs to be done. These kids
Yes.
need coverage. There needs to be an awareness out there of what's going on. But together, we are united. Know that we are united in this case. And we're so grateful for you guys for being here and listening. And if you have questions, please feel free to ask. You can leave it in the comment section. You can email your favorite creator here. It doesn't matter. We're not in competition. We're here to raise each other up. So you're not going to offend anybody. If you have a favorite creator, email them and ask them the question, and let's see if we can get it answered. Does anybody else have anything they want to say?
I just want to thank the mods and the chat so much. I didn't get to see the chat, but I will go back and look because I like to see your comments and stuff. But just thank you, everyone, for being respectful and for, for fighting for Lyric and Devin. We're going to get justice for these kids.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. And I just want to say thank you guys for having me and for doing this with me and for, yeah, appreciate it so much. It means a lot to me.
Yeah.
Oh,
Thank
thank
y'all
you,
all for being
Allie.
here.
I hope you all have a great night, and we're going to sign off. Everyone be safe. Hug your babies, say a prayer, and we will talk to you guys soon.
Thank y'all.
Bye.
Bye.
Peace and love, everyone.